Now, let's just stay with that story. Our military analyst Sean Bell joins us now. And Sean, can you explain why the hospitals in Gaza have become a focal point of this conflict?
Militarily, Hamas are no match for the IDF, but they've had years to plan for the eventuality of when the IDF respond to their attack on the 7th of October. And it's quite clear what they're trying to do is trap the IDF in a moral quagmire, because the hospitals are protected under the law of armed conflict, and therefore they would be obviously a subject of attack by the IDF. Now, Hamas want to expose what they would call IDF inhumanity by coaxing them into attacking the hospitals or attacking Hamas positions there, and therefore undermining international support for Israel. But from the IDF's perspective, they are clearly convinced that Hamas is operating and hiding away in the basement of these hospitals and in the tunnels underneath. In fact, only today they released footage that they claimed at Rantishi Hospital, which is a child hospital, that they found a cache of weapons within that hospital, including suicide vests, including rocket-propelled grenades, explosives, and a number of other articles. Now, of course, Hamas deny that that was the case. The harsh reality of the truth is going to be very, very hard to find. But the casualties of this, the people who are suffering the most, are clearly those who are ill and seeking treatment, those injured personnel in the hospitals, and, of course, the staff of the hospitals themselves. But the harsh reality is, what's the plan now for the Israeli Defence Forces? The Israelis' response to the 7th of October attack was very swift, it was very intensely kinetic, and it was largely driven by anger. But now that the ground offensive is underway, one of the objectives was to take Gaza City, and there's an interesting report came in earlier today with a picture allegedly showing the IDF actually in the Parliament building in Gaza itself. Now, this picture is highly symbolic because it appears to show the IDF in control. But in control of what? They may well have the predominance above the ground in Gaza City, but what about the network of tunnels, that are the labyrinth, in other words, the Gaza Metro underneath? Very unlikely that they've destroyed that, and they certainly haven't destroyed Hamas itself. So the challenge, I think, for the IDF is, what's the next step? The challenge facing Prime Minister Netanyahu and his military colleagues, particularly because the military seem to be in the centre of Gaza City but have not achieved their objectives. What next, particularly given there's a rising tide of international concern about the growing humanitarian crisis?